there's a little bit of lore going on here with all this. And you had a great conversation, Smash, with Master of TDS last night. But let's go to this article from That Park Place because they've summed this up. And I always like to have nice consolidated articles to read. It says, Sweet Baby Inc. CEO and co-founder admits physical attraction in Nintendo's Bowser in shocking unearthed video or interview here. Now, this isn't necessarily an interview. This was actually a podcast. So we've talked about Sweet Baby Inc. extensively on the channel. Not as much as maybe Smash has or Hypnotic, right? But we talk about this at length. So Master TDS and the Gothic Therapy YouTube channel pretty much unearthed this previously unearthed podcast. And what was it called, Smash?
The Sexiest Podcast.
The Sexiest Podcast. And
which they have over 60 episodes of.
Okay.
This is just one.
Now, Savvy, you're... Is this something you listen to, Savvy?
Oh, I've listened to all of them.
What?
Yes, all 4 of them that they have remaining. And then I attempted to find archives of the remaining 54, 56 of them. We found the names of them, but we didn't find actual audio archives yet.
Okay.
But the internet is forever.
It is.
So this is it, the Sexiest Podcast over here, a weekly podcast ranking the top 3 sexiest everything, hosted by this person who is no longer there, and this person who is locked, and this person being Kim Belair, the writer and narrative designer and CEO of Sweet Baby Inc.
You don't know who that first Twitter handle is, do you?
No, Savvy, please fill us in.
That's the co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc.
Oh, okay. All right, so that's the co-founder.
Really keeping it in the house, aren't they?
Oh,
I mean, they have 3 co-founders, right?
Yeah,
David...
and don't worry, that other one makes an appearance too.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Look, this all happened before Sweet Baby Inc. Is this correct?
Yep. I went through all of most of the tweets up until halfway through 2016. And then my browser crashed and I lost my place because I was scrolling the main feed, archiving everything. So it's long before then, but some of the usual suspects always seem to show up.
In the podcast, you mean?
In the podcast and who they retweet and what few comments that they had. You know, it's the usual suspect, the small handful of people who go on to create 3 or 4 or 5 consulting agencies. These people also seem to routinely make multiple podcasts because they just don't know how to make one brand and talk about multiple things. They have to, try their hands on multiple subjects. I think the most interesting one, though, is, of course, the fact that Kim Belair attempted to also have a wrestling podcast, which only made it to about 2 episodes.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, would you like a visual aid?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me figure out how to do this and not show you my dirty tabs. Let's see here. Where's
Don't get us banned.
Yeah, Sab, you have dirty tabs? Are you kidding me?
Man. I really need a 2 PC setup because I play with fire every single day.
Okay.
All right, this should work. This is the safe browser.
Okay, Here we go. What do we have here?
Can I make this a little bit wider?
Yeah,
I can. Okay. Hang on. Let me put you guys over here. I got to do multiple monitors to make sure I'm doing this.
Okay.
All right. So I made a visual aid because I'm a visual learner, and that's just how my TISM works best. So I looked at this. This board is strictly just based off of every connection for the Sexiest Podcast by the 2 SBI individuals, right? So let's just get a brief little introduction here. So we have Kim.
It's like that Always Sunny and Filmy meme right now with the
100%.
I really am. That's me. This isn't the first time I've done this. I still have my physical board. But so Ariadne, however you pronounce the last name, within the podcast, because I'm certain people don't want to go listen to the Sexiest Smash Bros podcast. She genuinely, and this is again a co-founder of SBI who makes commentary on video games and consults for video games and claims to be able to write for video games, did not genuinely know who the fuck Bowser was.
Did she say that in the podcast?
Yes,
Yes.
she genuinely went, "Who is Bowser?"
Who's that?
Wow.
And then she also didn't know Mr. Game & Watch. She didn't know other basic characters. And then they had a discussion on the age of Sheik, which is who Zelda transforms into. Because
Right.
they had to, of course, make sure that it was okay to find Sheik sexy.
Okay.
Oh, they
Doesn't
like
know
Sheik.
basic Pokemon.
They like Sheik because, in their words, she looked gender neutral, and that
Yeah.
was attractive to them.
Yep. So before, though, we go too far into this, I just wanted to show that little area. So we have SBI, right? So we have the sexiest podcast, and then we have the failed wrestling podcast, which I really appreciate this tweet that they had. So our hosts become contestants in the first episode of WrestleGamia. Now, why is this presentation important? If you go over to that actual account, it says that they're the hosts, but this tweet implies that they're merely participating in it. There's only one like on it. Of course, we can't see the viewership number because back then they didn't track it.
Right.
But yeah, so that was funny. I love misrepresentations like that. Now, just that way you can see the whole picture at a glance first. This is the amount of work I did. Again,
Yeah.
this is just one account's connections.
Okay, so walk us through this, Sav. And can you make
So-
that a little bigger, please? Can
Oh,
you,
yeah,
can you...
I will. So what I did was all of these arrows that come into this side of it.
Wait,
these
wait,
are all-
wait. Hold on. I looked
What?
away for just a second. That red little tab is zoom in on that real quick. Like that's like the tiniest little thing on all this this entire board.
Everything
yeah,
points
so
to it.
these arrows are all the guest appearances, right? So we come down here and I tried to spread everybody out and tried to get a good look at them. So we have people who worked on the IP director for Far Cry. We have this individual who was previously at Ubisoft. We have this individual who has also worked at Ubisoft as a voice actor. But it's interesting enough, also on Zao, the recent game, who
Interesting.
they hired there.
Okay.
We have this individual who claims to be a narrative designer, but they're locked, obviously. We have this individual who is, wow, look, a senior writer at Ubisoft. That's amazing. Oh, look, here's another one, Ubisoft. So
And
I
these
started
are all-
noticing
these are
very
all
much so a
guests.
trend.
These are all guests that were on this.
These are all
podcast.
guests. I have all of the. I put some of the tweets showing the invite of them. But so like, you know, here's Mr. Pope, Eric Pope, previously Ubisoft. He was working at Ubisoft while he was guesting on this, right? And then this person, who interestingly enough doesn't actually fit their circle. If their circle found out that she was into Web3, they would crucify her. But interestingly, look at that, past Ubisoft.
Wow.
So my little autistic brain needed visual representation. Holy shit, look at them. Most of them connect to Ubisoft. That's a trend in my book.
Oh, well,
So-
that's where Kim got started with David Bedard. So
Mhm.
they all knew each other from there.
Yeah. And then, so if we come over here, if we come back to the origin of it, then we come over to this strange post that I thought was hyperbole. Tomorrow, it's a family affair as Bagel of Death's brother stops by to talk about sexiest cartoon dog.
That's not weird at all.
No.
Now, I thought,
Story
again,
time.
surely
Totally
this is
normal.
hyperbole, correct? So they have another post where they actually post what I guess they'd consider sexy dogs. You probably have big plans tonight. Get into the mood with sexiest cartoon dog with Sean, blah, 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 right? So that's kind of weird. Well, I wanted to confirm whether or not they were actually related. Here's a tweet from Sean saying, me and my sister are scaring the clients. And here he is, and he's tagged Kim Belair. And of course, she's got her pronouns in whatever this chat thing is. Tag yourself, everybody tag yourself. I'm anxiety nightmare, fuck. And then Sean here is saying, I'm anxiety nightmare, bruh. Like, great discourse there. I'm glad you guys are scaring the clients with your stability. So he
You know,
is a treasure trove of information.
This is the
I
brother
really
of Kim
appreciate
Belair.
him. Huh?
This is the brother of Kim Belair.
Yeah, this is the actual brother of Kim Belair. So he works for Sweet Baby Inc.
Okay.
because of course he does.
You know what's
Because-
funny though? What did I say to Craig in Smash before we went live? I said Kim Belair looks like her parents are brother and sister. And lo and behold, her brother is in this giant web with her.
And they're
You have
talking
the
about
weird-
sexy dogs together.
Exactly.
What's frightening about
really
that, the
weird.
fact that
Family.
he came on specifically to talk about dogs, he posts a lot of pictures with dogs.
Yikes.
That is a little bit weird. Again, once or
Yikes.
twice or joking about things is just, fun, engaging in your fiction. But when it starts to be a pattern, you start to wonder, especially with the fact that Kim Belair admits to being sexually attracted to turtle dick and antelope penis.
This
Okay,
is true, actually.
Let's actually take a step back there and let's decompress that. What do you
Okay.
when you say she's confessed to being attracted to turtle dick and antelope penis? What are you talking about?
This is
That's
not a
crazy talk to me.
misrepresentation or my own hyperbole. I also realized how dark it is in my room. I even attempted to turn on lights. My bad. Basically, so she has there's a segment of one of the recordings, and she says that she's got antelope skulls because she actually thinks antelope are sexy. So she collects the skulls of things she finds attractive. The turtle commentary comes from the Smash Bros commentary because she admits that regardless of whether it was mammalian penis on Bowser being drawn or turtle penis, she enjoyed it and she was there for it. And she consented to looking at it because she wanted to be in the thick of it.
Okay,
Well, her words was she found the Tumblr page and she's like, well, now that I'm here, I might as well look at everything here because I can't look away because she was liking it too much.
oh, okay. So real quick, and this for the record, this is the same lady who runs a company that is built around inclusivity and
Yep.
scaring PR
Terrifying.
Yes, I'm sorry, terrifying the people at this company if they don't get what they want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just
Well,
I'll make sure we're all on the same page.
this is the same type of person. We were saying this in the stream last night that sets the rules of what is allowed and what's not in gaming socially, and stands for these types of things. It's just, how is this person in charge of making rules? They are probably more effed up than the vast majority of people that are playing the games. So, just curious.
So Ariel Knight, that's her brother.
The brother is Sean. He retweeted
Okay,
this,
he
but
retweeted
he's
this.
clearly agreeing with Kotaku and Ariel Knight here. But Ariel Knight is somebody that this person also interacts with quite often.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
the other interesting thing too in the Super Smash Bros. Podcast is she makes it a point while talking about the Bowser thing that she's like, oh yeah, now that I'm here, I might as well look at all of it. But of course, that doesn't mean, not the non-consensual stuff. She makes the point to go out of her way to mention how she still finds non-consensual fictional art problematic. But it sounds like she's overcompensating for the fact that she wants to fuck animals or be fucked by animals because and they can't fucking consent. To me, that, like, when people make such a big stink over non-consensual fiction, which is often depicted in Hollywood, no problem, when you make such a gross overcorrection and you have to constantly say, like, oh, you think non-consensual fictional content is a problem, you're hiding something. And that comes most frequently from the zoophile crowd who want to have sex with animals who inherently cannot consent to anything.
Smash, you had a conversation with Master of TDS last night on your show. Was there anything that was talked about in there that Savvy hasn't hit so far?
Yeah, a couple things. She's got most of the big ones. There was a strange part where Kim was talking about how she was into, when she selected a character of games, that she would always play the male because she is into the broad shoulders. She doesn't like the female form, so she wanted the male shoulders to live vicariously through that, or that was what I was grasping out of it. At least it was very
That
strange.
came from the World of Warcraft segment where she's like, oh, do you like World of Warcraft because they do the big shoulders? They got the big shoulder armor.
Yeah, and to that point, I was like, it's interesting how these are the people that are in the industry that are creating the narrative of, oh, all the chuds are using these girls as whack off material in their games, and like, you're the one that's talking about like the males you find attractive and why they're attractive in the game, but yet if someone does that with a female, then all of a sudden they're an incel and a horrible gamer. I don't understand why it doesn't work both ways.
I do find there immense irony when they're saying these are the chuds who just want to still, stare at the women and such. Also, yeah, like there's a lot of irony there. Just
when I made the thumbnail last night with that, people thought it was AI generated. They couldn't believe it was a real picture. They're like, that's not real. There's no way.
Yeah, I wouldn't have believed it either, but that's why I needed to go through the entire Twitter myself because I
And
was
it's
like,
still
there's
up.
no way.
She's CEO of a company, and this is still a live account with these pictures are all still up there. Don't you think you'd like, I don't know.
They're very stupid and think that they're untouchable, but it gets better if we come back to my chart.
Yes.
Here's
Fire
a little
away.
bit of irony. The game is looking really dope. What game is he talking about? Suicide Squad.
Oh.
And he admits to being on the writing team. I thought everybody was trying to tell us that they just provide a little bit of feedback. What happened, guys? What happened? I got so much love for this writing team.
Well, he's not saying he's on the writing team.
Yeah, well, they helped with it, but he's clearly working with them so closely, and he approves of them.
Right.
And it's like, what happened? And then, of course, they're begging for sponsorships for something.
Yikes.
Now, this was one that I need to look into because this person is quite fascinating. Former Ubisoft, part of their social circle. It was like being bullied in middle school, except bullies in middle school don't wield an HR department like a club with nails. So this person who's part of their circle actually got reported at the Ubisoft HR during the year 2020, which is when they started actually a bunch of their DEI initiatives. So whoever this person is, whatever they did at Ubisoft, HR wasn't happy, which means their own circle kicked them out. Now, I intend to figure that out, but this is again former Ubisoft.
Sean reposted that though.
Yeah, no, he reposted it, but this is just another connection into Ubisoft.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like this is all connections, right? And then it keeps going. So he retweeted this person who I guess supposedly was a project coordinator for Sweet Baby Inc. But now since then, their bio has absolutely nothing in it. I don't know when the bio was changed. I don't know if they still work there. But this individual is also quite interesting and has, again, more connections and constantly talks to people from Ubisoft. It's like Ubisoft is truly ground zero for all of this. So here's what their profile looks like right now. Narrative designing, you know how it is. Game deving. I'm sure.
Wait, hold on real quick. Can you scroll up to the picture up there? What's it say?
I suffer from bisexuality.
Why do they all define themselves by sex? Like what? Like why is that everything that they put forward as the first introduction to them?
Because
like,
they have primitive brains. Yeah, they have primitive brains, and all they think about is sex, who they can have sex with, who wants to have sex with them. Their tribe is defined by sex because they just chase dopamine releases. 90% of their behavior can actually be explained by chemical imbalances in the brain. It's insane. It's just insane. From here, if we come back to one of the other guests. So this guest is a narrative director at Warner Bros. Game Montreal. So if we come all the way up here, well, guess who made Gotham Knights? Warner Bros. Montreal. So this was that person was most likely, this individual right here, because they're a narrative director, they're not just a low-level individual. This person was most likely the reason why Sweet Baby Inc. got incorporated into Gotham Knights. And here, Sweet Baby Inc. is talking to Sean. Oh yes, it's Gotham Knights, blah, blah, blah. Our announcement that we wrote for this. Special shout out to Sean and Cassiel, whoever that is.
Well, Savvy, something you didn't. I'm sorry to interrupt, but just real quick.
No, it's fine. Interrupts me.
It's something you didn't touch on yet. I don't know if you're gonna get to this or because this is gonna completely blow up this whole chart and make it 100 times bigger. What are the connections to the game journalism insiders? Because for some reason, specifically Alyssa Mercante, but I see Ethan Gotch doing it as well, and even Jason Schreier to a certain extent. Always running defense and not ever saying a negative thing about Sweet Baby Inc. Why is that in your mind? And it looks like your reaction, you're going to get to that.
So it's not in this chart because this chart specifically just looks at the connections to one account. I have a really hard time making a master chart because it gets so messy that you cannot see all of the connections. It is the same 50 people who have made multiple podcasts, multiple outlets, who write for multiple outlets. It is the same 50 people every single time who are connected to all these companies. And then there are the floaters around them. And so the floaters around them are trying to capitalize off of that work, running defense, getting free codes, getting free access, getting immediate access to other people in the team, because then, obviously, a narrative director can tell somebody who they're friends with, who works with them, to say, hey, go interview with Kotaku, go interview with IGN. Oh, you're getting let go, but we can go ahead and put you into this other company because I got a friend over there.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. That's one of the biggest problems is when people are booted or let go, they always made these connections where they get picked up somewhere else and they never actually leave the industry. But the biggest issue that, at least that I've found in my research, which is paling in comparison to yours right now, but what I've found is these people do not like video games. That's the common, consistent trend with every single one of them. Like, sure, they'll casually play, maybe to put up the facade, but ultimately they're not in this for the gaming. They're in it for the activism. They're in it for the control, the power. They're addicted to the power and control in the narrative. That's all they want.
What I've gathered from Kim Belair, based off of her having so many different podcasts that she's tried with so many ridiculous topics, from wrestling to video games to sex, just really, come on. You can literally talk about all of those things and just make an entertainment podcast. But clearly that's not what she was going for. She was trying to set up a specific brand to get repeat individuals for one thing, because she knows that niche markets do the best. But she couldn't even do that right. But because it's all these podcasts and because of what Sweet Baby Inc. actually does, this woman just wants to get paid to be listened to. That's why she has so much disdain for people like us, because that's what we do. We get paid to just talk. We don't want to talk about this. We don't want to talk about Kim Belair. We want to talk about things we love.
We don't need to put guns to people's heads for them to pay us to listen to us.
No, we don't have to threaten anybody to listen to us. So this woman who is so obsessed with herself is so desperate to be paid to be listened to that she is willing to burn an industry down and work in an industry where her co-founder and her friend does not know who Bowser is. But we're the problem. Your co-founder does not know who one of the most iconic villains in the series of gaming as a whole is. That is an embarrassment. That wasn't a joke. That wasn't like, oh, Savvy, you're just being mean. She was just being... No, this woman, if you listen to the tone of her voice, if you listen to the follow-up conversation following her question of who is Bowser, she did not know who Bowser was.
They also didn't know who Sheik was. They had to talk that one out.
How do you not know who Mr. Game & Watch is?
Or
if you're
Mr.
going
Game
to
&
be a
Watch.
consultant.
Oh, he was, according to them, he was the black guy.
Yeah, he's a black guy, but he's not a black guy. Like, how?
Craig is the ultimate fly on the wall right now.
No. What I'm doing is I'm absorbing what's happening here. And
it makes me cry. Like, so ever since I was a little girl, right? One of my first real big experience into a world that could be explored was Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. This was like this for everybody. It was the first time that we had a truly big 3D open world where you could go and get lost for hours and still find really cool things. That made me appreciate every single thing about video games at the age of like 6. Okay, I wanted to be part of the industry. I wanted to tell stories. And you're telling me that somebody who doesn't know who Bowser is the one who's getting paid for this? That's all it took, is claiming to be a consultant.
Not just getting paid, telling people how the industry needs to run and what's acceptable and what's not.
Yeah. And that is absolutely
Who nominated
insane.
them? Who nominated them? How did this even happen?
Ubisoft gave them an in. If you look at all of these freaking connections, it's ridiculous. Ubisoft gave them an in into enough positions. You have senior writers. You have communications at Ubisoft. You have the current community director at Behavior, but previously Ubisoft. You have, and at least he's honest, my opinions are mine and terrible. Thank you for being honest, at least. You know,
Well,
Ubisoft,
it is.
Ubisoft, you have all these people who are former Ubisoft.
Well, including Kim Belair. It's important to note that, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the connection lies with all this. These are her former coworkers, right? That she had on her sex podcast. And look, I go back. There's a phrase that Mark Cuban, whether you like him or not, he said this, and I agree with this, right? In business, you only have to be right once. You can fail over and over and over again. I think what this was Kim Belair throwing out as much as she possibly can and seeing what would stick, right? The wrestling podcast was like, oh, well, okay, it didn't
That only
take
has
off.
2 episodes. That
Right,
only lasted
right.
2 episodes.
The sex podcast, how many episodes? 50, 60 or something like that, right? So they did it.
Yeah.
So if they do it every year or every week, they're doing once, so it lasted about a year, right? They gave it the old college try, didn't work out, didn't get any traction. They thought, hey, we'll talk about sex. Who doesn't want to hear about sex from women? This is the top 3. We're going to talk about all the sex stuff. And the reality is,
it's so childish.
Well, listen, as the show that shows off boobs for $50 donations, we appreciate that. We understand the irony there. But with that said, it goes back to, I think that their sex podcast was very niche, right? Very niche. We're gonna be counting off the top 3 sexiest dogs in cartoons. Okay.
Or trees, or
Right.
spices, or candy.
Or
and then they
Smash
made
Brothers.
a corpse joke out of the candy thing, which was really odd.
But if you go back to those topics, right? They had to get creative with it. And in those topics, what they're doing is, what they found was there wasn't an audience for their deviancy. There wasn't an audience for what they thought, which reflects what's happened with Sweet Baby Inc. They have clients, but ultimately the vast majority of normal men don't want what they're throwing out.
Mm-hmm.
And they are being rejected just like their podcast was.
So I'm actually going to go ahead and offer a slightly different view of it. It's not
Please.
so much that the topics couldn't be done, because it can. It's the way that they did it. They are not the type of person who is naturally entertaining. When I listened to the Super Smash Bros. Thing,
Pain.
it made me uncomfortable.
It was
And
so
I-
painful.
It made
I am
you
a
uncomfortable?
deviant. Yeah, it made me uncomfortable. Now, I'm going to go ahead and out myself, just to be very clear here and maximum transparent. So I have a Discord with some friends of mine who I met last year on 4chan. And occasionally we sit in the Discord and we do absolutely stupid tier lists. We will rank all sorts of things. Whatever somebody's topic is for the day, we will rank it. So whether it's something as obscure as who's got the best hat in Pokemon, or what Digimon looks the best naked, whatever, right? We do dumb, stupid, deviant shit like that, right? But we have a good time and we're actively laughing through it. I'm saying all of this to out myself, to say that perhaps I would be the target audience of this particular podcast. When I listen to it, I am genuinely made uncomfortable because there isn't a joke behind their words. There isn't humor behind their meaning. When she says, "Who is Bowser?" while talking about one of the most iconic video game franchises, incorporating one of the most iconic villains of video gaming, and you're gonna fucking sit there and say, "Who's Bowser?" Like, that's weird. That's unusual. And then when Kim is justifying everything, there's no humor behind it. There's no, like, okay, just hear me out. It's like, genuinely, she is justifying the fact that she likes the idea of a turtle's pee-pee. She wants to experience an animal's pee-pee in her vaganga. It's not normal.
And she doesn't outright say it, but you can insinuate that from her saying she was addicted to scrolling the Tumblr and couldn't look away, and looking
Right.
at all the different ones and starting to describe them. And I'm like, this is not normal. This is abnormal.
Yeah. Like, I 100% support people doing whatever the fuck they want in fiction, right? That's my whole thing. Creative freedom for all. But if you are going to come around 3 years later and suddenly
impose
try to be a
rules on
moral
people.
authority,
Yeah.
that's insane. And to be perfectly clear too, she's not like a 16-year-old in these podcasts. She's not 20. She's not 25. She's in her fucking 30s or however old she is. She is an actual adult having these conversations. And now, a few years later, she decides to be a moral authority. No. Be
Doesn't
dirty.
work like that.
Be disgusting. Be bombastic in your fiction. Don't care. But do not tell other people how to fiction. Fuck off.
And that's my biggest frustration with all of this is just
Yes.
the authority and level of power they've been granted by the powers that be and the backing up that they're getting from the journal mafia right now, where anytime anyone dares say anything about it, it's full defense. Like, oh, they're all doing this and that. And it's like, no. We're calling this out because they're trying to impose rules of how we're allowed to enjoy our media. And these are the people that tell us what they enjoy behind the scenes. And it's like, no, you can't make the rules. There's a contradiction here.
Well, and the beautiful thing about this, Sav, is that you've done about 12 hours worth of research.
That was impressive. Very impressive.
That was about 3 hours. I actually have more archived as well, but there's one last point to make that I think is really interesting that also shows how these people operate. So go ahead and pull me back up here. So this is something that Master of the TDS initially sent me just to also add to clarification. So if you look over here, this is Unknown 9, right? The game that just came out.
Yep.
So obviously we have Kim Belair here listed as working with Sweet Baby Inc. through the company. Well, look who else is listed. Ariadne, associate producer. Yet at the time, she's still working for Sweet Baby Inc. There is one more connection. Another individual, another founder of Sweet Baby Inc. was also the communications director at Reflector. Give me 1 sec just to
David
verify.
Bedard.
I didn't add this image, but I'm going to now. Hang on.
David Bedard, Kim Belair.
This one, David,
primary.
I think it is.
Yeah.
This is the guy who's Sweet Baby Inc.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt just real quick, Savvy?
Yes.
And just to splice in what Savvy's saying. You see my screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the Reflector about us. And
so diverse.
Right. I ran a cross-reference on these names. These are the 5 leadership team. None of these people appear on, hold on a second, let me bring it up. On this.
And what is this? What are we looking at?
This is what Master of the TDS was sharing with Savvy too. This is the Shorty Awards for Unknown 9, and it gives the entry credits for Reflector Entertainment, and all these people listed here, none of them are listed from the leadership team. I find that very strange. Why? How?
Yeah, a small studio like that doesn't make sense. If the studio was massive like Ubisoft, I could understand it, but it's
like, where are these people? Why are they not listed on the credits for the Shorty Awards from the studio? But yet these are all the people in charge of the studio. It's very strange.
Wow, man, this is an amazing rabbit hole, to say the least. And I can't believe that you guys are like, Savvy, great job on this. And I feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's weird, but the Unknown 9 thing really tells you how they operate, because you have 3 people listed for Sweet Baby Inc., but only 2 of them, but only one of them is actually listed for Sweet Baby Inc. The other, despite working for Sweet Baby Inc., also work for the studio, and they're not disclosing the fact that they're also Sweet Baby Inc.
Wait, 2 of them? You mean 3 of them?
Yeah, 3. Yeah. 3 of them. All 3 of them work for Sweet Baby Inc., but only 2 of them, 2 of them don't list the Sweet Baby Inc. on it. They actually work for the company.
Why would Kim Belair? Why would it say story architect at Sweet Baby Inc.? But why would it not say? That's so weird. Yeah,
because they have actual positions within the company, which is also how they can kind of get away with things. They'll have.
But how did the company get founded? How did it get started? Who started it? Was this a Sweet Baby Inc. baby? Like, did they just get together one day and be like, okay, we got our consulting mafia, let's create our own studio, and then use our consulting mafia to push our studio? It's very strange.
The whole thing doesn't make any sense from a normal business structure. And the fact that this studio then got picked up by Bandai Namco EU, or the UK version, or whatever the EU or UK version, like, because it's weird that it specifies that as well. It wasn't just bought by Bandai Namco; it was bought by Bandai Namco EU.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So why is that a distinction that needs to be made? Wouldn't it just be Bandai Namco, or do they now operate independently?
This really goes back to something that I've said forever: is the gaming industry it's one big club. You're not a part of it, right? And this is a great example of, once you have those relationships and you're in the club, you're in it, and you're not even like, you as an outsider are not even a consideration. It's all about them and pushing the thought process and the relationships that they have within their narrative. And going back to this, I just think that Sweet Baby Inc. was one of those things that
just real quick, Craig, can you
Yes,
share
sir.
my screen while you're talking?
Sure. I think this is one of those things that when it comes to this is the grift that stuck for all these folks. Sweet Baby Inc. is the thing that stuck. So that's the way they're going to continue to do it, and they're going to continue to fight despite the things that they're preaching as being the moral high ground or whatever it may be. It's like they're degenerates. Go ahead. What you got, Smash?
This is how it began. Just curious. Reflector's acquisition in the fall of 2020 was part of Bandai Namco Entertainment's larger strategy to expand its Western content development efforts. So they were just right place, right time, from what it sounds like. But I don't know how Reflector got started. This is just the article on how Reflector became a Bandai Namco owned studio.
Which doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they would buy a studio whose final product looks like this, so I can only imagine what the pitch looked like, which means they have to have some sort of higher up connection
or it might be
Bandai
as simple
Namco.
as ESG scores, DEI, and they know that this is
It could be that too, just useful
tax
idiots.
breaks. Like, look at all the diversity, tax breaks. Here we go, free money. Let's just buy the studio and it pays for itself.
I'm surprised somebody hasn't looked into Sweet Baby Inc.'s tax filings. And to see kind of what revenue that they received, because all that stuff's public, right? You can find all that information online and see kind of what they're charging. I think that's something that should absolutely be looked into. I mean,
by the way, sorry, you're right. By the way, I don't know about Canadian tax filing, but I'm sure it's similar to American. But this is interesting. Awesome projects. In addition to Unknown 9, we've begun developing a new experience for a popular Bandai Namco property.
Click on the link. I'm scared.
Share this tab instead.
And there's a lot here. This is
And they even say that they want to put their spin on it, their creative spin on it. So creative.
A popular Bandai Namco IP. I mean, I'm just going to go by what I see here. They got the Pac-Man in the background way in back there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's Pac-Man. Something to do with Pac-Man.
Man, what do you do with Pac-Man?
I don't know, but Kim Belair talked about Pac-Man and how horrifying he was.
Oh yeah, the Langoliers.
So that's a little funny, but there's one other thing that I'd like to talk about too that I haven't actually brought up.
Do you see the comment? Chris said "Pac they them."
Right.
Oh
right.
no! Yeah, we have Miss Pac-Man and Mr. Pac-Man. Now we're gonna have a Pac they. But so there's one other thing that I haven't really brought up in a major capacity. I did do a live. We sort of live investigated them, and I was even going to call them, but I may have found a way that they are infiltrating into companies. So Martin Tripp Associates is a fascinating little business. So these people provide executive research. And essentially what this is they will install executive C-suite level individuals into companies that where roles need to be filled. But what's interesting about this is this quote is actually part of this thing, the Raise the Game thing for the UK. So this is a UK initiative to basically just keep spreading diversity and inclusion, right? So if you come down here, this guy, James Dodd, Martin Tripp Associates, that's the website that I just pulled up. Monocultures solve problems the same way, continuing to give the same answers, and are slow to change. Diverse organizations are nimble, think differently, and are, frankly, a lot more interesting places to be. The quote is copy-pasted from the website to here, and I thought that was a really strange thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
The reason reason why that is able to be done is because he isn't just a Martin Tripp Associates individual. No, this individual, James Dodd, actually is part of the board for this thing, which makes this raise the game thing.
It's
so
one
he
big
is
grift.
on the board.
It's one big grift.
It is, yeah. So he works for Martin Tripp. He's on a UK board to promote diversity, inclusion, and gay stuff. And then he makes this, but doesn't disclose that he's part of the board that made this website. Instead, he makes it look like he's part of another company.
Yikes.
So back to this company and why it's important, right? So these people actually come out and say, too many people recruit people that they know. Their whole job is to recruit people that they know. So they also go on to say that we're proud to have a 50-50 gender balance in the company, to which I actually emailed them and told them that this was considered hate speech under UK law because you're basically ignoring the 57 other genders. And I did kind of report them. So we'll see if anything comes from that. But why do they matter? Why do they matter, right? Why do they matter indeed? Holy shit! Media, technology, information and data, events, gaming, education and e-learning, theater and arts, e-commerce, TV and film, marketing and communications. Keep in mind, they are putting people into positions of power into companies. So if we come down here to gaming, they tell on themselves, and it's my favorite thing. As gaming headhunters, we have worked with some of the world's largest gaming studios and pre-launch startups. We have placed producers, studio heads, development, engineering, tech, and AI leads, creative leads, and commercial leads, and more onto some of the world's most innovative games. Contact James Dodd to find out more.
Wow.
Now, if we come back over here to raise the game, we can go up here and look at our pledge partners and wait for it to load because it's very unoptimized. And we're just going to have a little scroll.
Whoa, look at that.
Look, guys, you're going to see some names that you know. You're going to see big names. You're going to see small names. You're going to see names you've never seen before. And when you click on all of these things, look who recently had layoffs.
Wow.
It all starts to make sense. Keep in mind, James Dodd owns this initiative. He works for Martin Tripp. They install people into positions of power. Look who made bad choices recently. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy.
This is a lot of companies for a small operation to be doing all
now,
this.
This is obviously just a pledge, so that way you pledge to continue spreading DEI initiatives. Now, it gets even funnier because Ubisoft. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure everybody has a chance to see all of this because it's ridiculous.
Wait, now, no sweet baby?
Don't hang on. It gets very funny.
Okay.
It does. So these are our academic pledge partners, which, whatever. Academics don't really give a shit. But if you go and look into all of these, they are coming from DEI-style gender study departments. And our pledge supporters. Why is this one important? Well, these are charities, representative groups, or other organizations involved in the video game industry. Now, if we scroll down,
gaming!
Which was recently exposed for certain things.
Interesting.
But it also gives us a really nice list of things to look into. But the one I want to point at is Melanin Gaming, which guess who's connected to SBI?
Oh, boy.
And POC in Play, which is another one that I need to do a big write-up on. But these ones are some big bullies. It's very funny if you go look into all of their tweets. Oh my
there's
goodness.
SafePoint.
Safe in our world. She plays games and
isn't SafePoint? Isn't that one to the right of Safe Our World? Isn't that a DEI firm?
I believe so. We can click on it though and just go double check. Welcome to SafePoint Industry Gathering, a nonprofit UK CIC.
Yep.
And that's
look at how inclusive they are.
Riot Games. Riot Games right here. Splash Damage, Pipework Studio, IGN. And look at that, guys. We've just
Rebecca Valentine. Oh, our good friend.
Rocksteady, Lorena Brielle. Look at this. Safe Point
unreal.
Advisors. We've got Latinx in gaming, Limit Break mentorship, game industry gathering. My God, that looks like the type of person you'd cover your drink for if they walked into the bar. Supported by, I actually know.
Dragon Baby.
Yeah, another one, I guess. So that's very cool. Look at that, guys. Just another set of things to go through.
This is
but
real quick.
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost to the point where it's so ludicrous. The rabbit hole goes so deep that it's almost unrecoverable. Like you can't even expose this because it's everything.
I sound insane by
No,
being able
you
to
don't.
connect all of this.
I don't know how you even expose it because they put it right out there and they're like, yeah, what are you going to do about it?
Well, then they get mad and they delete everything. I'm actually surprised they haven't taken this one down yet because I'm the reason why the ERGN had to take their shit down.
When they get enough pressure, they will. That's the thing.
But so please, everybody, archive this, go through all of these websites, and you will see exactly what I see every single day. It's the same handful of people. This women in games thing, guess who that actually I can connect that to? The chick in Yotai.
Oh, yeah. Erika Ishii.
I can connect them to SBI, I can connect them to Take This, and I can connect them to Yotai. I can connect She Plays Games to all of this stuff. I can connect some of these other people all the way back. Like, they're all just connected. It's a small conglomerate of 50 to 100 people making a bunch of different organizations and shit, trying to look bigger than they are, bullying an industry that wants nothing to do with them.
And they could fall back on, oh, it's just our friends and we recommend them because we trust them. But in reality, what it is they're excluding qualified people and putting their friends in positions they shouldn't be because it's one big club and we're not in it.
Listen, if you guys have enjoyed this research from Savvy, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're new, subscribe. Savvy, I'm going to put you on retainer. Okay. I'm serious. I'm going to put you on retainer so you can do your research for Side Scroll. This is ridiculous. Phenomenal job. And I know this is only just the tip of the iceberg right here.
I still haven't talked about half of the shit that I've uncovered in the past week and a half. People actually send me new stuff. I just got sent a big thing to look into, but I can't. The individual is kind of like half breaking their NDA. So I have to find obviously public reasons for this. But I just got sent a really big one. And typically I don't take on stuff like this without being sent public stuff first, because I don't like that. I don't want to be a voice for anonymous people. I want people to be able to reproduce every single step along the way. That's why I show all my work. I provide all the links. I do all the screenshots, blah, blah, blah. But this one is too big to ignore. And it actually relates to the concept of buying positive reviews and press.